Make room for Javi.
Welcome to my Project a Day video, where I explain a project or tell a story each day for a year, and I attempt to complete my shop. This is day 52 of 365. Today we're doing a little bit of pickup. I want to neaten all the boxes up, put them all away, mixed or organized, and hold off on the sorting for a little bit. I want to work on the insulation as a change of pace, so here we go. And today's story, it all started with a rat. Many of you have heard the story of the butterfly effect, where one or a series of tiny events can literally move mountains, such as a butterfly in one part of the globe, adding to the chain of events causing a catastrophic weather event in another. Rack number 5, which that one is, has been taken care of. Let me start working on rack number 1 and clearing out all of this mess. This is rack number 1. Today I'll share a story about Mr. Haney and the travel trailer, one of the tiny events leading to a significant event in my life. Some of you may have heard this story before, but it bears repeating. In 2002, I joined my buddy Carlos, and just to distinguish the few Carloses I know well, this one is the front door neighbor Carlos. Carlos and I partnered up to have a few spots at the Christmas theme park Santa's Enchanted Forest. My first year at Santa's, as we call it, I was introduced to a number of carnival and fair folk, as in county and state fair folk. One of these was named Larry. Now Larry was indeed a character. If I had to describe him on the fly, I would say he's a cross between a stereotypical Carny, that's carnival folk, and Mr. Haney from the Green Acres. For those of you who are too young to have enjoyed the show, watch a few episodes. It's a hoot. Any of you that have gone to a carnival or fair will recognize the Carny half of my description. And by the term, I'm speaking, of course, of the admirable qualities of the typical Carny. Resourceful, friendly, good-natured, and always willing to lend a hand. Although, he wouldn't turn down a quick buck. All right, rack number 1 is organized. This is 2. We're going to jump over to 3 to get all this stuff out of the way so we can complete 2. This is rack number 3. We're going to take all the bins we have scattered about and fill them up. Mr. Haney was a character on Green Acres who would use every opportunity to con, swindle, horse trade, or just plain be serviceable to his clientele. Again, for a quick buck. Now, when I met Larry at Santa's, I still owned my sign business, and he asked me for a few business cards. I told him that I'd give it to him at cost, to which he offered always something in trade. In this case, Carlos and I needed some 150 feet of electrical drop. Well, Larry offers to sell us this cable, somewhat used, for $1 a foot. I spoke with Carlos, and he said that was a fair deal, so the deal was made. Okay, there's a few items here or there I have to organize, but for the most part, we're good to go. Now that we got the bulk of the boxes picked up, I'm going to pick up this area, and I'm going to pick up the other area, so I can move all the racks over into this nice big empty space and start working on the insulation. Larry wanted the following on his business cards. Mr. Haney's Horse Trades. Any service you need, we got it. This man's business model flat out intimated that he was in it for the money. He got his cards along with the $150 and we got our cable. After inspection of the cable, we had received 5 or 6 sections of cable joined with electrical tape with some insulation worn off on 2 or 3 places. This was likely due to being dragged on the street from a truck for a good distance. In addition, there was some 8-gauge cable mixed with some 10. Regardless, the longest intact piece was more than enough for us, and we got some extra cable and didn't have to pay $8 to $10 per foot for it. In hindsight, Larry probably picked up the cable that one of the larger carnival companies had thrown out in one of their dumpsters. Now, Larry was in charge of the crew that set up Santa's Enchanted Forest from mid-August to October. The lights, the displays, etc. Some of the vendors were allowed to set up earlier than the prerequisite 3 days and would come in a couple months early, not only to set up, but to hang out as well during that time. I was one of those, and I spent an awful lot of time getting to know the various regular vendors and hanging out with many new friends. While I admittedly kept many of them at arm's length, there were quite a few whom I shared many a meal. A little bit nicer. We've got this whole section relatively clean. If this area is clean, I could start moving some racks around. This area is mostly picked up. I need to clean up the areas around the boxes here, and I'm set for tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment. I enjoy reading them, particularly when they're pleasant. Please subscribe, and as always, have a great day.
Make room for Javi.